What's going on, Everly Sports? Back with another video. And in this video, there is a lot to talk about, as I'm going to be recapping the first month and a half of the John Chayka era with the Toronto Maple Leafs, as John Chayka has done a lot here in this offseason so far since he's become the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And really, it's John Chayka and Matt Sundin. We know that they're a partnership, and a lot of the things they do are together. And I haven't made a video in a while, and there's a lot to talk about. And I've kind of been slacking off a little bit as the summer's here, and just been waiting. And my plan was to do a post July 1st full recap, and I'll have more videos out when more stuff comes out, because I don't think the Leafs are done yet. But in this video, I'm going to be recapping everything from the hiring of the head coach until what's happened today. And we're going to start off with the Maple Leafs hiring Jim Hiller to be the head coach of the hockey club. And I think this is an interesting hire, because I don't think it's one that a lot of people expected. I certainly didn't expect it with all the names that were available. He wasn't one of them, really, and there was a lot of names being thrown around, probably upwards of 25 to 30. So it's interesting that the Leafs landed on Jim Hiller. Do I like it? I'm indifferent on it. I don't think it's a slam dunk hire. I don't love it, but I also don't dislike it. He's a former Maple Leafs assistant coach. He was here with Mike Babcock. He knows these players well, and from what people say, the Leafs players and their star players pushed for the move of Jim Hiller. They like him as a coach, and if that's the case, then I'm going to support the hire. I'm giving John Chayka a fair chance, and I think he's done a great job so far. So Jim Hiller as the head coach, I think, is a move that we'll see, halfway through the season if it was a good hire. If his system works, which I think is a lot more offensive. I think you'll stop seeing Matthews taking so many defensive zone draws, and I think that this is very evident based off the players that we signed today. So I like the move in terms of the style that he's going to play and the system that he'll implement. Matthews will get back up to that 50 or so goal-scoring seasons, and I think that's when he's at his best, when he's scoring goals, because even when he scores 50 goals, his two-way play is still very, very good. So I like the thought of how Hiller might use these players, so I'll support the hire. The next thing was what just happened with the Toronto Maple Leafs, drafting Gavin McKenna. We, of course, know that this was not the difficult decision. It was a no-brainer. When we won that draft lottery, we got lucky, and that number 12 popped up. Gavin McKenna was the obvious guy. People tried to talk themselves into Stenberg, but McKenna, he's been the number one guy for a long time out of Penn State. Tremendous player, so skilled. He's going to be a lot of fun for this hockey team. So I'm glad that that's the route they went. We'll see if they give him minutes with Matthews right out of the gate, or they ease him into it. It's an exciting player, nonetheless, and I think the Maple Leafs did a great job with the entire draft class, with the second-round guy, Bilecki, a lot of interesting things, and then the draft trade with trading Brandon Carlo. I think that was an interesting trade. I think Toronto is clearly, John Chayka's got his own view of how this is going to work as a whole, and I can't say I dislike it. I think he's trying to bring in his own guys, and I think he saw he can get 2/3 for Carlo. Yeah, the Leafs traded a lot more to get him, but he's on an expiring deal. He's coming off a couple tough seasons. A change of scenery was good for both sides, and I think the Leafs did all right with that trade. They didn't do great. They just did okay. They traded Nick Robertson today for a 4th-round pick to Pittsburgh. This was a move. Moving off of Robertson's been in the works for a long time, so that happened as well. And then, of course, we all know what happened with Joseph Woll. They traded him out to Philly with Simone Benoit. Emil Andrade was the big piece we got back in that trade. I think he's going to be a guy who steps in as the number 5 or 6, a depth defenseman. He's young with upside, small, but he's a good puck mover. He's quick. I think that's what the Leafs are looking for in the back end. So I think that was an okay trade. They had to move off of at least one goalie, because, of course, all three guys at the start of the offseason, Stolarz, Hildeby, and Wall, were waiver exempt. So that made sense there. The Darren Radish sign and trade, I really like that. He's a number 2 guy in the NHL. You saw what he's able to do in terms of running the power play with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I really, really liked bringing him in. I think the 8.5 by 8. I know everyone talks about how it's a lot of years, a lot of term, a lot of money, but if you want a free agent, you're gonna have to overpay. We saw that today with some guys, and that's just the name of the game. And I'm glad that the Leafs did it. We need help on that back end. He's a puck mover. He's quick, makes good decisions. He's got a bomb from the point. He's going to help out that power play so much. So I really like the move for Radich to get in a Toronto boy who's friends with McDavid, by the way. On the topic of trades, signing trades, whatever it is, the Leafs made one more trade today. They acquired Nick Paul from the Tampa Bay Lightning, a Leaf killer, in exchange for Dennis Hildeby, a 4th-round pick and a 5th-round pick. And I think the Hildeby move, again, they had to do it after they signed Bobrovsky. We'll get to that in a minute. But they had to move off of a goalie, whether it was Stolarz or Hildeby. And I love now that the tandem is going to be Bobrovsky and Stolarz, what won Florida Cup their first time around. So I like that tandem with Akhtiamov in the minors. He can come up and down, no problem. He'll probably step in, play some games, and Bobrovsky can mentor him. But Nick Paul, I love this pickup. He can play third-line center, can play hard defensive minutes, penalty kill. Whatever you need him to do, he's going to do it. A tremendous player, a guy who destroyed the Leafs any chance he could get. And so I really, really was happy with this trade. I really liked it. And of course, talking about Bobrovsky, they signed him to a 3-year deal worth $7 million per. Bobrovsky's one of my favorite goalies of all time. Just an incredible player, one of the best of all time. And I think a lot of people freaking out about, his age. You need to understand one thing, and that's Sergei Bobrovsky, despite the age, is one of the best. He's one of the most well-kept, well-conditioned players in the entire NHL. One of the most well-conditioned athletes. His training, what he does with his body, is sensational. And, he's really durable, really reliable. He plays 50 to 60 games every year. You can bank on him. And I don't think that the Leafs are going to ask him to play 50 to 60 games. With Stolarz there, I think, you look for 30 games out of Stolarz, 35 games out of Stolarz. Maybe 45 from Bobrovsky, 45 from Bobrovsky, and you get some from Akhtiamov. So I really, really like the Bobrovsky signing. I don't think 3 years is too bad in terms of the term at all. And I think $7 million per season is definitely reasonable for one of the top goalies in the NHL still, despite his age. And he's going to be a legitimate number one, with Stolarz being one of the best backups in the entire NHL. So I really love this Bobrovsky signing. It's my favorite thing the Leafs have done this offseason. I'm so excited for him to get out there on the ice and see what he can do with this team. Really, really ecstatic about Bobrovsky. The rest of the signings the Maple Leafs made was Jack Roslovic, a 2-year deal worth $8 million. That's $4 million per. It's interesting. All the forward signings you made today, there were 4 of them of impact. Very interesting that they're all 2-year deals. And in 2 years, Connor McDavid's a free agent. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Chaika kind of hinted at they want to leave themselves flexibility to sign. They want to leave future avenues open in terms of signing free agents. I don't know if he's talking specifically about McDavid or that it's a strong free agent class. I don't know. But Roslovic, a 2-year deal worth $4 million per. It's an interesting signing because he's so he's so versatile and he can do so many things. He can play on the first line on the wing. He can play second line center, second line wing, third line center, third line wing. He can really do everything. He's a Swiss Army knife, jack of all trade kind of guy. I really like the signing. I was upset the Leafs didn't get him last offseason. But I'm glad they got him now. Colton Sissons, a 2-year deal worth $8.5 million. A little steep, 4.25 per season. A little bit steep. I thought he'd come around 3.25, not 4.25, but it is what it is. He's a really good player. He's been around the league a long time. Played a long time in Nashville. I think 9 or 10 seasons before playing in Vegas last year. Went to the Cup final. He's been to the Cup final a couple times. He's been. He's been around. He's got some serious, kind of a championship pedigree. Kind of been there. He's been around a long time. He's got some veteran presence that he can bring into the bottom six. A really defensive, responsible player. I love this pickup. Teddy Bluger, 2 years, $4.5 million, $2.25 per. He can slot in that 4C. A little rich on this one as well, but I think, like free agency, the way it goes, you got to kind of overpay. I would have never thought that Roslovic would get 4, but Sisson's 4.25. It's a little interesting, but the Bluger signing is not a bad one. I think he's a good player. He hits hard. A lot of what the Leafs look like they're doing is they're bringing in a lot of guys with size and that hit. So I like this. And then Duhaime, a guy I really, really like. 2-year deal worth $2.6 per year. He's not going to score a lot, but he's a rat. He can play on the fourth line, hard minutes. He plays 82 games a year, like consistently. He hits hard. He'll fight. He'll do all the dirty work. This bottom six that Toronto's building, it's really to tire out their opponents, and it's to take the defensive responsibilities off the guys like Matthews or Nylander in the top six. They'll take care of that while the big boys take care of the offense. Overall, a big fan of what the Leafs have done this offseason. I like what Chaika's done. He's really implemented some grit, some speed, some hard hitting, some size into the bottom six. He's added a puck-moving defenseman in Radish and Andre. Shored up the goaltending situation, so we have two really good goaltenders. When they're in the net, you don't have to worry about their play. Durability in terms of Stolars and health, that's the question, but I think we're pretty okay in terms of our goaltending depth, for sure. And then McKenna, I'm really excited to see what he's going to bring. It's going to be really exciting this entire season. It's going to be a fun season. I like what the Leafs did, and I'm excited to see what else is on the horizon, because I know there's more to come for Chaika. So we'll see what happens. I'll have more videos out. I just wanted to get one big video out talking about everything this offseason. The trades, the draft, Hiller, the signings. Let me know what you think about it down in the comment section. What do you think of the Leafs draft? What do you think of the Leafs signings, trades, everything? Let me know what you think about the offseason so far for Chaika in his first month and a half as general manager. I like it, and I can't wait for the season. Let me know the good stuff down in the comment section. As always, please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We'll see you guys all in the next video. And as always, go Leafs, go.